cut back from him. He'll fire one, and that's going to go in!
Are you looking to play at the next level? MSN is now offering player recruitment videos. We are excited to partner with you and your family in getting you to the next level. To learn more about our packages and what we offer, head over to the MichiganSoccerNetwork.com. Remember, your journey starts with a click.
My dad and my grandfather are officials. I've grown up around officials and seeing how much they enjoy being part of the games. As a student athlete, I've always appreciated the people out there who are willing to give back to the kids. The Legacy program lets me officiate while I'm still in high school, working younger kids' games. Officiating gives me a better understanding of the game. I get to make some pretty good money for a high school kid, and I even get to spend some quality time with my dad. There's help wanted. Just whistle.
Sacker down by the end line. Puts us across. Lose your eye! And just like that, 1-1. Now Elders may look to take a shot. He does, and he buries it! Steps up, and just like that, Reed Dennis comes up big. Lose your eye, one-on-one. Lose your eye. Oh, he'll be taken down inside the box.
Knocked back in. Nationals got it. Bicycle kick for a goal!
Now Sacker. Sacker into the 18. Sacker shot. That goes off the goalkeeper's glove into the net. 2-1 here in the 32nd. This one played in. That's a good ball. And that one goes in. And just like that, the Nationals now have a 1-0 lead. Walensky puts his far post. One-touch opportunity. And what a great goal that was.
Joaquin Beatty of Ohio League.
Look at that shot from Sevy Roy. My goodness, Sevy Roy with a left-footed banger.
We are the MHSSCA, a collection of 750 high schools and 750 middle schools, from Temperance to Copper Harbor, from New Buffalo to Alpena. Each year, more than 250,000 students play one of our 28 sports. More than 1.5 million fans attend our postseason games. There are 30,000 coaches and 8,000 officials, not to mention all of the volunteers. The MHSSCA believes in the 4 S's. School sports should be safe and kept in the appropriate scope. We believe nothing beats great sportsmanship, and that scholarship in the classroom is more important than excellence on the field or court. Most of all, we believe school sports should be fun. So come out and join us at a game. Support your school, support your community, and come see what the excitement is all about.
Northwestern is up from 12, now at 10.
Voice of Michigan Student Athletes, the Student Advisory Council's role
is to convey the message of how high school sports are supposed to be played.
We were responsible for helping the MHSSCA maintain a positive and healthy atmosphere
in which interscholastic students can thrive.
We believe athletes should be competitive,
sportsmanlike, and excel academically.
We believe students in the stand should have fun,
but not take the focus away from the game. We believe coaches should act as teachers,
helping student athletes develop while still keeping high school sports in perspective.
We believe that parents should always be positive role models
and be supportive of their child's decisions.
We believe officials commit their own time to high school sports.
And respect should always be shown and given to them.
The most important goal for student athletes is to enjoy high school sports
while maintaining a high level of respect for all those involved in the games.
Enjoy the game.
Are you looking to take your game to the next level? Did you know that MSN is now offering player recruitment videos? Our packages include a player profile where you show your preferred positions, the club, the league, or school that you play in, your current coach contact information, and more. The highlight videos can be self-submitted, 15 to 30 clips that will be put into a 3 to 7 minute long video. Video review of your Huddle, VO, or other platforms that you might have video on, as well as for an additional charge, MSN can come out and film games for you to create those clips. Our coach evaluation process, which is also an additional charge, where we have college coaches from various levels across the United States that will review your game film and provide feedback on how to improve that film, as well as also evaluating your play and what you can improve on. To learn more about our packages and what we offer, head over to the MichiganSoccerNetwork.com. Remember, your journey starts with a click.
Our mission is to help players take their game to the next level and reach their potential.
Not only do we help develop fundamental technical skills such as ball control in tight spaces with different surfaces, dribbling at speed and changing direction, using a variety of 1v1 skills to create space, receiving on a half turn, hook turn, and out of the air, finishing off the dribbling, one-touch, volleys, and headers. We help players get comfortable performing these skills at game speed with pressure and with both their dominant and non-dominant foot. In addition, we help players with their speed of play, awareness of space, defenders and teammates, and also dominate with our off-the-ball movement. We offer a variety of services such as one-on-ones, small groups, large groups, as well as team sessions. We have an experienced coaching staff that is professional, friendly, patient, while still holding players to high standards and holding them accountable. No matter what level you're at as a player, I'm confident we can help you get better. Over the past 3 years, we've built one of the best soccer-specific training facilities in the country and developed one of the most detail-oriented programs to help out players. Visit our website.
What rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start? Here, in the classroom.
On the diamond.
In the pool. On the field.
Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends.
Yeah! Be great.
Participate!
Granite City Food and Brewery has 2 Michigan locations in Troy and Northville. Serves made-from-scratch food, brews in-house beer, and even has brunch every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. To learn more about their daily specials or to book a private party, visit gcfb.com. Make sure you head over to Granite City in Northville at the corner of 7 Mile and Haggerty, or the Troy location at 16 Mile and I-75.
I'm a husband. I'm a father.
I'm a sister.
I'm a son. I'm a brother.
I'm a daughter. I'm a sister. I'm a referee.
I'm a referee.
I am a referee.
I'm a referee.
Welcome in, everybody, to the MSN High School Ranking Show right here on the Michigan Soccer Network, where we break down the top 15 teams in all 4 divisions in the great state of Michigan. Be sure to subscribe right here on YouTube and follow us on social media at MI Soccer Network. My name is Giovanni Mosheri, and to my side is the newsman, MSN News Director Dan Stickrad, joining me here to help us break down the best of the best that the Mitten has to offer. So, Dan, last week we went over the top 20 teams in no particular order according to the Michigan High School Soccer Coaches Association, but today in week 1 is where the cuts are made. We go to the top 15 and we'll see which teams return, which new teams are added today here on the show.
Yeah, a lot of teams have played some games already. A few, we've had a couple teams play like 2 tournaments. So those weekend tournaments, you play 2 or 3 games in one day. They're 25-minute halves. You get a chance to bring a lot of players. You're trying to still sort through your lineups. But there were some key marquee matchups here already in the first 8 days of the season. This was the earliest games I've ever been played. Normally, games wouldn't be played until Wednesday through Friday this past week. They started the previous Friday and Saturday. So a lot of games already been played. The season has been shortened a little bit. It's been moved up, so you will see the state tournament start even earlier. So yeah, there's a lot of soccer to be played. But these are the teams that so far here that the first week that coaches are really have an eye on and like what the results are. And these rankings will change, especially those first 3 or 4 weeks. You'll see a lot of movement, from teams up and down, because once a lot of these teams get in their conference races, then some of their schedules get extremely tough. So we'll see how this all shakes down over the next 2 months, but it's glad to be back. It's an exciting time of year.
No doubt about it. And yeah, and just as the weeks go on, the Coaches Association get a lot bigger of a sample size, get to see how the teams shake out, who the stars are as well. And for those of you who are new here to the ranking show, we go over each of the 4 divisions, starting with D4, D3, 2, and 1. And we'll have details at the end of the show as to how you could get your team in better consideration to be on the top 15 by contacting your division chair. But it's been a very exciting week on the Michigan Soccer Network. And as behind us, you see the National Soccer Network, as we just launched our national side of things. We'll still stay as is here at the Michigan Soccer Network, but we'll now have a bigger grasp, a wider wingspan into the world of soccer as we go national, state by state, growing our reach here to bring you the beautiful game.
Yeah, it's exciting times. We just unveiled those plans a week ago yesterday at a friendly with the Flint City Bucks. There's been a lot of calls and emails, people asking about what's going to transpire here over the next 1 to 2 to 5 years. There's so much, the possibilities are endless. We talked about it a little bit in last week's show. Yes, we're going to be looking at hiring a lot of freelancers, a lot of interns, so there's a lot of plans, the way we can blanket coverage and just, increase it state by state, but we will continue our brand here in Michigan. We'll continue to grow that each and every school year. We've added a lot of different things here over the last few months. We continue to add a lot more coverage, in the months coming forward.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dan, I'm getting ready for some D4 top 15 rankings. We'll get to that after this short break right here on the Michigan Soccer Network High School Ranking Show.
In for Baccarat, and that goes in! Hugo Baccarat gives Flint City a 3-2. Buckley, the ball falls to Buckley. 1-on-1 with Etheridge. What a save!
Welcome into the first ever MSN All-State Media Day for girls soccer. Jonathan Turner alongside Dan Stickrad.
Ball comes in, a good head! 1-0! Shot, another save from Etheridge! Rebound, and it goes in the back of the net, the Bulldogs up 1-0! Burzma, with it for Vlasma! 3-0! Stewart Heights with a shot! Upper 90 and in!
Effectively today here on the Michigan Soccer Network, we are launching our new division of player recruitment videos.
Mario Canoe now finds Stock. Stock's got a left-footed banger. He shoots it! It's in! The Red Hawks equalize! He'll cut it back on his left foot! And that goes in! Towards the 6, a one-time shot! And it's 2-2. One-time shot!
Welcome back, everybody, to the Michigan Soccer Network High School Ranking Show. My name is Giovanni Mosher. That's the newsman, Dan Stickrat here, and we're getting ready to break down the top 15 of Division 4. Be sure to get involved. If you're watching on YouTube, get involved in that chat right there. Chat it up. Let us know what you think as the rankings come out here throughout the show. We love to see your guys' support and participation in that, but enough with the wait. Let's give the people what they want. The D4 top 15 starts at number 15. A new team added from the top 20. We didn't see them last week. Bridgman breaks the top 15, followed by Madison Heights. Bishop Foley in the 14th spot. 13th goes to Manchester. 12 goes to Holland Black River. Both of those teams and Manchester new additions to the list this week. Number 11 goes to Bloomfield Hills Roper. 10 goes to Byron Center Zion Christian. Number 9 Granville Calvin Christian. Number 8 Jackson Christian. Number 7 North Muskegon. Number 6, Clarkston, Everett Collegiate. And number 5, Muskegon, Western Michigan Christian. Number 4, Royal Oak Shrine Catholic. The top 3 includes Leland, Grosse Pointe Woods University Leggett, and the number 1 team in Division 4 this week is Lansing Christian.
Yeah, you can start off with the top, Lansing Christian, 4-0-0 to start. They were part of that new conference, the Central Michigan Athletic Conference last year, and the Pilgrims have one of the best players in the entire state of Michigan, Owen Resch. He was your Golden Boot winner. I believe he had 53 goals to lead the state last year. So you can expect Lansing Christian to be one of the powerhouse teams in Division 4, moving forward. High expectations for that school. 4 schools from the Catholic High School League are in the Division 4 top 15. You had Grosse Pointe Woods University Leggett. Had a great senior class last year, but like a lot of powerhouse programs, they've kind of reloaded. Madison Heights Bishop Foley is at 14. They were your runner-up last year in D4. They graduated at least 9 seniors, but still going to be a good team, a little bit younger, so they might take their lumps early, but they're always a quality program. Clarkson Everett Collegiate's been very steady here in the last decade. You look up and down this list elsewhere, number 5, Muskegon Western Michigan Christian. Remember, 2 years ago, they were never ranked, but they went on to win the state title. Last year, they were in the top 5 all last year. They won the state championship once again. That's a powerhouse program. They play a lot of D2, D1, and D3 schools throughout the course season. They aren't independent, so they can, schedule whoever they can find, put on their schedule. So they play a lot of tough teams that kind of prepare them for the state tournament. So I would never count that team out. Royal Oak Shrine's another Catholic team. We were talking about, some of the Catholic teams just a minute ago. Leland, they had a numerous Final Four runs here in the last decade. They're from the Northwest Conference. I believe they brought back 4 all-state players, so expect Leland to be one of the challengers this year for the D4 crown. North Muskegon's one of the best teams in that West Michigan Conference. The boys and girls side, they always seem to be in that top 3 in that conference. Jackson Christian is back on the rise. They were a state runner-up about 20 years ago. They out of the Independent Soccer League. That's kind of a hodgepodge of a bunch of smaller conferences that don't necessarily have a ton of soccer teams, but they have converged here in the last 2 decades to form that league. Byron Center, Zion Christian's been on the rise last 4 to 5 years. They're out of the Alliance League. They've been steadily good here the last couple of years. Expect them to make some noise. Bloomfield Hills Roper, the MIHSSCA Blue Division. That's the top division of the MIHSSCA. There's 2 divisions in that conference. They're defending champs. There's a lot of very good teams in that league, so the Rough Riders will be challenged. They do bring back a solid core, so they could end up on top, but there's a number of other teams that are knocking on that door. Manchester, they come out of the Cascades Conference, and last year was the first year in that conference history on boys and girls soccer. There was actually a conference schedule. Manchester won the boys last fall. They won the girls season last spring, so Manchester is expected to do very well again in that conference. So you got to look up and down that list. A lot of these teams have done well here in the first week. Expect a lot of these teams to continue. We may see some teams fall out here in the next couple of weeks. There's some other teams kind of sitting right at the radar. They did not submit to us a honorable mention list this week. We expect that to be, that list to kind of expand a little bit over the upcoming, weeks.
No doubt about it, and especially with this being week one, teams and even the Coaches Association still trying to get a feel for who is who in each of the divisions, and sometimes the honorable mentions is a large list because you can't figure out the top 15 out of such a bigger pool, but sometimes you can only find the top 15 and rank them amongst theirs. So as the weeks go on, we'll get a little more detail, a little bit of a better idea as to the top 15 teams. But if you think that your Division 4 team, as well as the other divisions, should be included on this list, then the way to do that, and the only way to do that, I want to be clear about that, is to contact your high school coach and have your coach contact the division chair. They have been told to only take requests, or I shouldn't even say requests, but to take suggestions and consideration from coaches only. That means no social media support for a certain team. Only from the coaches can the division chairs take considerations for it. So to go about it the right way is that way, to get your team in better consideration, to be in the top 15 and included in next week's high school ranking show.
Yeah, we saw 2 teams pop in there. Not necessarily have great seasons last year, but they brought a lot of players back. We saw Bridgman at 15, and then Holland Black River Academy, down at 12. Black River kind of made a surprise run 2 years ago to the Final Four. They switched conferences last year. They're now in that Southwestern Athletic Conference along with Bridgman. There's 2 divisions, about 8 or 9 schools in that conference. So those 2 teams, they went through the proper process. They're off to very good starts. They're in the rankings, and that's the process, because they don't want to be bombarded with 10,000 emails from disgruntled parents, and I understand that. So that's the process, and we'll, like I said, they will not accept emails from if you're not a part of a varsity coaching staff.
That's right, all in the name of keeping the peace up with the division chairs here. So that's going to wrap up the top 15 teams in the Division 4, as you can see on your screen here. After a little break here in the Michigan Soccer Network, we'll take over the Division 3 rankings, the top 15 teams in the 3rd Division. Be sure to subscribe right here on YouTube. Get involved in the chat. Follow us on social media at MI Soccer Network. And coming up next is Division 3.
Now Worrell has a good cutback from him. He'll fire one, and that's going to go in!
Granite City Food and Brewery has 2 Michigan locations in Troy and Northville. Serves made-from-scratch food, brews in-house beer, and even has brunch every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. To learn more about their daily specials or to book a private party, visit gcfb.com. Make sure you head over to Granite City in Northville at the corner of 7 Mile and Haggerty, or the Troy location at 16 Mile and I-75.
Are you looking to play at the next level? MSN is now offering player recruitment videos. We are excited to partner with you and your family in getting you to the next level. To learn more about our packages and what we offer, head over to the MichiganSoccerNetwork.com. Remember, your journey starts with a click.
What rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start? Here, in the classroom.
On the diamond.
In the pool. On the field.
Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends.
Yeah! Be great.
Participate!
Welcome back, everybody, to the MSN High School Ranking Show. We're live here every Sunday night, 8 o'clock until season's end, so be sure to subscribe right here on YouTube to not miss a single show. My name is Giovanni Mosheri. That's the newsman, Dan Stickrat, breaking down the top 15 teams in each division according to the Michigan High School Soccer Coaches Association. We just got done with the Division 4, bringing us now to Division 3. Dan, are you ready to go to release the top 15?
Yeah, right. We have some teams near the top here that weren't necessarily a top 5 team this year, or last year. They are this year, so let's take a look.
Let's take a look now, starting at number 15. Buchanan makes the list after not appearing on last week's top 20. Followed by number 14 is Grosse Seal. Traverse City St. Francis makes the 13th spot, also appearing for the first time from last week's top 20. Ogenaw Heights, in addition to that, as number 12. Number 11, Wyoming Lee. Number 10, Saginaw, Swan Valley, and Wyoming, Godwin Heights, both appearing for the first time. Not there last week in the top 20. Number 8 is Imlay City. Number 7, we got Kingsford, followed by Hartford. The top 5 includes Flint Powers Catholic. Number 4, Eaton Rapids. And number 3, Detroit Country Day, followed by Macomb Lutheran North. And your number 1 team in Division 3 this week is Notre Dame Prep. Included in the honorable mentions is Alma Elk Rapids, Grand Rapids West Catholic Aviation Academy, Grayling, and Milan.
You look at number 1, Pontiac and Notre Dame Prep. They've had some good teams. They were ranked a lot last year. I don't remember them ever being ranked number 1, at least not in the last 2 decades. So Fire and Irish have picked up some significant wins here in the opening week. They brought back 15 players. I believe 9 or 10 starters are back. So the Irish are off to a great start, very well deserving of that number 1 ranking. Macomb Lutheran North was a little bit young last year. They're 5-0 to start. They brought back most of their team as well. Detroit Country Day is Detroit Country Day. Anyone who's followed soccer dating back to the 1980s knows that is always a powerhouse team. They were state runner-up last year. Bring back a solid core. They have some good young players coming up through the system, so the L-Jacks are buzzing once again. Eaton Rapids out of the Capital Area Athletic Conference is 4th, and Eaton Rapids is another program. It's just south of Lansing, about 10 to 15 miles. They have been on the rise the last few years. We've seen them, pop up in the rankings. Arnold mentioned in both boys and girls soccer. So Eaton Rapids is a team to keep an eye on this season. Flint Powers Catholic, I've mentioned this the last couple of years. They're in that Saginaw Valley Conference, which is all Division I and Division II schools, except for Powers Catholic. They lost a little bit of firepower, but Powers Catholic does have some very good young players coming up through the ranks as well. So could this be the year they sneak through and win the Saginaw Valley League? It's possible. The Chargers are always a good team. They're almost always seem to be in that top 15 in Division 3. Hartford moved up from Division 4 to Division 3 last year. They were ranked all year. They won another Southwest 10 Conference title last year. Hartford's never been beyond the regional finals. The Elite 8 is as far as they've ever been. Could this be the year that Hartford gets through the Final Four? There'll be another team they'll keep an eye on as well. Kingsford, the Upper Peninsula, was not allowed in the state tournament from 2007 through 2022. Last year, a handful of those schools were allowed to enter the state tournament. Kingsford was not a Cinderella story, but a great story. Finished 22-2. They won their first district in program history. They have a lot of very good players back on that roster. They're kind of in a unique situation. They're right down by the Wisconsin borderline. A lot of the teams they play are from Wisconsin, but they have some special players that you will see in the All-State teams here in a few months. Imlay City has kind of become the class of the Blue Water Area Conference. They're in the top 2 or 3 every year. They've won multiple conference championships here in the last decade. Wyoming Godwin Heights comes out in that silver division of the Ottawa-Kent Conference in the Grand Rapids. They the defending champs in that league. They should be one of the top teams there as well. Saginaw, Swan Valley. Now, the Tri-Valley Conference is a little bit different this year. A few schools did leave. There's only 10 schools left with soccer teams, but Swan Valley will be one of the top teams along with Elma, who is honorable mention. Elma was in the Final Four last year for the first time in program history. So those two teams I fully expect to be in the hunt in that conference. Wyoming Lee comes out of the Alliance League. We talked about Byron, Zenner, Zion, Christian in D4. They're in the same conference. Expect those teams to kind of contend in that league. Traverse City St. Francis will be an independent this year. They're actually a unified team. They're called the Liberty. They bring in players from Traverse City Christian and then Traverse City Grand Traverse Academy. So there's 3 different schools feeding into that program. Grosse Seal, a little bit younger this year, but John Evans will always have that team ready come the postseason. They have made multiple Final Four runs here in recent years. Buchanan comes out of that Lakeland Conference in Southwest Michigan. They're off to one of their best starts in program history. Expect the Bucks to be maybe a challenger for a district championship this year. And then West Branch Ogama Heights. Their girls team set all kinds of program records last year. They're from the Northern Michigan Soccer League. But the Falcons bring back a lot of players on that team on the boys' side as well. So they could be one of those sleeper picks here in Division IV if they can, continue to stay high and enter the postseason on a roll. So Ogama Heights, another team to kind of keep a lookout for. Elk Rapids was really young last year in the honorable mentions. They were in the Final Four 2 years ago. They have a lot of sophomores on that team, so they're a quality side. Grand Rapids, West Michigan Aviation Academy. Please do not try to say that 5 times fast.
I just think it's awesome to see the Aviation Academy here.
They're out of the Alliance League. We just talked about Wyoming Lee and Byron Center Zion Christian. That's the same league as well. Grayling's an up-and-coming program up there off I-75, not too far away from Gaylord. Grayling's been playing much better here the last couple of years. And Milan was an offensive juggernaut last year. They lost some firepower off that team, but you expect them to be one of the best teams in the Huron League once again. And Huron League is where Grosse Seal's been a annual contender in that conference for many years and probably for many years to come.
And for a lot of those honorable mentions teams, and I want to specify the Aviation Academy here, hoping that they have a safe flight up to the top 15 later on in this season. As the Coaches Association, they start to figure out who is the best of the best in each of the divisions here, and we appreciate the Coaches Association for helping us out with the program here. It's been a lot of fun here. And Dan, like you mentioned, with some of the conference realignment, we mentioned it in the top 20 of last week, but it's not just college football that has a lot of this conference realignment stuff. The high schools do as well, and whether it's for enrollment or other kinds of situations, including the UP now in these state tournaments, it's a great thing to see these schools now included.
Yeah, there is between schools switching conferences altogether or moving within divisions in their conference. There are a lot of these mega conferences like the Ottawa-Kent Conference, the Macomb Area Conference, and so on. A lot of shuffling going on, so there'll be a lot of teams that are in different conferences, and sometimes those conferences are actually going to be stronger this school year in boys and girls soccer than they were in the previous, or vice versa. They maybe a school got moved in because there won't be as many good soccer programs. So we'll kind of see how that folds out. But a ton of schools across the state will be playing completely different conference schedules over here in the next couple months.
Yeah, we can't wait to get all the action here on the Michigan Soccer Network. If you're not subscribed right here, that's the only reason that we got it here for free. That's the only ticket that you need, is to be sure to hit that subscribe button to make sure that we get all of the live broadcasts to you guys. We got a lot of the high school soccer live here on the Michigan Soccer Network from all over the state here. We've already called a couple of games. Dan and myself have had a couple of broadcasts together as well. And it's been a ton of fun to follow these teams throughout their season. So this is the place to be for soccer. Let your friends know. Tell everybody that MSN is the place to be. So that will wrap up the third division in the state of Michigan for the top 15 rankings. We'll now head into the second division, where things get really competitive here is for the D2 and D1. We'll share more details as how you can get your team in better consideration into the top 15 here in the coming weeks. But for now, we'll take a break here on the high school ranking show to give you Division 2's top 15.
Are you looking to play at the next level? MSN is now offering player recruitment videos. We are excited to partner with you and your family in getting you to the next level. To learn more about our packages and what we offer, head over to the MichiganSoccerNetwork.com. Remember, your journey starts with a click.
Our mission is to help players take their game to the next level and reach their potential.
Not only do we help develop fundamental technical skills such as ball control in tight spaces with different surfaces, dribbling at speed and changing direction, using a variety of 1v1 skills to create space, receiving on a half turn, hook turn, and out of the air, finishing off the dribbling, one-touch, volleys, and headers. We help players get comfortable performing these skills at game speed with pressure and with both their dominant and non-dominant foot. In addition, we help players with their speed of play, awareness of space, defenders and teammates, and also dominate with our off-the-ball movement. We offer a variety of services such as one-on-ones, small groups, large groups, as well as team sessions. We have an experienced coaching staff that is professional, friendly, patient, while still holding players to high standards and holding them accountable. No matter what level you're at as a player, I'm confident we can help you get better. Over the past 3 years, we've built one of the best soccer-specific training facilities in the country and developed one of the most detail-oriented programs to help out players. Visit our website.
Michigan Soccer Network, man! DCFC!
The sights, the sounds of historic Keyworth Stadium. There's nothing quite like it. Each week, Jonathan Turner and Neil Rule will break down the most recent Detroit City FC USL Championship match, taking a look at the Eastern Conference standings, looking ahead to their upcoming match, and much more. Watch the Detroit City FC recap show each week on the Michigan Soccer Network.
Let's go City on the Michigan Soccer Network.
You are watching the Michigan Soccer Network. Go City!
Now Worrell has a good cutback from him. He'll fire one, and that's going to go in!
Welcome back, everybody, to the MSN High School Ranking Show. We have reached halftime here as we talked about the D4 and D3 divisions for their top 15 according to the Michigan High School Soccer Coaches Association. My name is Giovanni Moscheri. That man is Dan Stickrad, MSN News Director. To my side here, breaking down all the teams here, as you've had quite an experience with all these teams here, you know, like the back of your hand, Dan.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time going through, hundreds of emails and talking to coaches around the state, talking about the best teams in each division, the best teams in every conference. There's 72 conferences. We talked about last week. I believe that's an all-time record. So 72 different teams will walk away with a conference or a divisional crown here come mid-October. And we're going to start taking a look at some of those on our website. So, look out on MichiganSoccerNetwork.com here the next few weeks. We'll put together our Super 50 teams. We'll put together our top 20 to 25 for division. We'll look at our top players in the state overall, other players to watch. There's so much we're going to sort through here over the upcoming weeks, and we'll publish all that over on our website, MichiganSoccerNetwork.com. So exciting times. I love this time of year because you go from the end of July, beginning of August. It's kind of a slow period.
Yeah, in all sports.
You snap back into it. It's high school sports, college sports. Everything starts, and there's never more optimism in sports than there is in the month of August. Kids are coming back. They're excited about their senior year. They want to lead their team to a conference or a state championship, make the playoffs, whatever the case is in whatever sport. It's just such an exciting time of year, and I still look forward to it every year, this time, every August where things get back in the flow. We got Labor Day weekend coming up next weekend. We will still do a ranking show that weekend, by the way. We will not be taking a week off.
Of course.
And then after that, it just breaks loose. You'll get knee-deep in the conference, conference play in every single league across the state. So that being said, there's a lot of very good Division II teams. A lot of these schools have already played each other, and let's take a look at some of the best teams in Division II has to offer at this part of the season.
That's right. Let's break down the top 15. Starting with number 15, that'll be Zeeland East, cracking the list. Followed by number 14, New Boston Huron. And Forest Hill Northern making their first appearance in the rankings show this week here at the number 13 spot. Number 12 goes to Grand Rapids South Christian, followed by Hudsonville Unity Christian and Holland Christian making the number 10 spot. Number 9 goes to Auburn Hills Avondale. Number 8 to Holland. Number 7 DeWitt, and number 6 Fruitport. And the top 5 consisting of Brother Rice, Mason, Grand Rapids Christian, and the top 2 Cranbrook, and number 1 Warren de La Salle. With honorable mentions including Dearborn Divine Child, Old St. Mary's, Forest Hill Central, Allendale, and Muskegon Reeds Puffer.
You look at the top of the list, Warren de La Salle, a longtime powerhouse. Terry Mukhtar took over that program way back in 1983. Last year, they entered the season, they didn't have one single senior on their entire roster. All juniors, sophomores, and freshmen. They had a very good freshman class. And they took their lumps in that Central Division of the Catholic High School League. I think they were 5th out of 7th. That league expanded with 3 Toledo-based schools last year out of Ohio. But they they took their lumps. They started playing better later in the regular season, and then they made a run to the Final Four. So de La Salle's number 1 right now. They had a great summer, some summer leagues. They brought back, just about every player is back on the Pilots roster. So, huge expectations for de La Salle. They did lose one game yesterday in the finals of the Pontiac Notre Dame Prep Tournament. Notre Dame Prep, as we just saw, was ranked number 1 in Division III. So it's not a bad loss. And again, those tournaments, you can play a lot of players over the course of 2 or 3 games. So, a lot of different types of results can happen in those tournaments. Bloomfield Hills Cranbrook Kingswood comes out of AA Division of the Catholic League. The first time in 26 years they have a new coach. Chad Okulich took another position within the Cranbrook schools, and Jacob Nunner's taken over the Cranes. So they were your state runner-up 2 years ago. I wouldn't be surprised if Cranbrook makes another deep run. They're one of those teams that's always knocking on the door. They have never won a state championship. Speaking of state championships, number 3, Grand Rapids Christian. Tim Taher took over the program this year. They won it all last year. They won it all in 2021. So 16 of their 24 players off that postseason roster a year ago are back. So the Eagles are going to be very good again this year. Expect them to be one of the contenders in that white division of the Ottawa-Kent Conference. Mason, your state runner-up last year. The Bulldogs are always a good program. They won it all back in 2015. They brought back 4 all-state players and a bevy of talent. There's a lot of returning starters, a lot of bench players that came back. So out of the Capillary Athletic Conference, there's 3 divisions. They're going to be one of the best teams out of that mega conference, and expect them to possibly make another deep run. Birmingham Brother Rice was your runner-up a couple years ago. The young talent, but they're another team that never seems to fade too far away. The Warriors should be a very good team again. This year we saw them beat Birmingham Seaholm here last weekend on our broadcast here on MSN. Fruitport got to the Elite 8 last year in Division II. They actually outshot Grand Rapids Christian 8-2 in that regional final, loss 1-0. They lost 4 players who went on to play small college soccer, but Fruitport is going to be a very good team here in Division II. They actually are one of the many schools in the Ottawa-Kent Conference that switched divisions. They're now over in the Silver, where they should be one of the favorites, along with Wyoming Godwin Heights. DeWitt, another Capillary Athletic Conference team, always a very solid program. They seem to always reload. Group graduates, the next group kind of slides back in, and they never go away. Howland won it all back in 2017. They were ranked a lot last season, and it shouldn't be any different this year. Howland's one of those teams that always seems to be pretty steady. Auburn Hills Avondale, they were your state champs back in 2011. They won the OAA Blue Division last year, and expected the Yellow Jackets might be the heavy favorites. Again, they did lose a solid core of starters, but that program is another program that's been pretty good the last 3 or 4 years. After a couple of lean years, they're on their way back. So Avondale off to a 4-1 start. Howland Christian graduated 14 players. They were your Division III state champs 2 years ago. Last year, they moved up. They still made the Final Four. So that will be a younger team, but the Maroons will still be good. Dave DeBauer does a great job with that program. They'll just may take a little bit of time to get some of the younger players some experience. Hudsonville Unity Christian, your Division III state champs last year. Now they're up in D2 along with Grand Rapids South Christian. Both those schools have been perennial powerhouses for many years. And you do not expect them to fade. Now, winning a district championship becomes a whole lot tougher for those two teams because there's several very good programs in that Grand Rapids, Howell, and Muskegon area. They're going to have to, have some great battles to get out of their district. Are they both capable? Yeah, both of them are very capable. New Boston Huron, we talked about in Division III with Milan and Grosse Seal. New Boston Huron is a program that's back on the rise. They're going to be one of the top teams in the Huron League. Grand Rapids Forest Hills Northern, yet another Ottawa Kent Conference squad. They're in the white division again this year. You expect them to, kind of maintain one of the, top 4 positions in that league. They'll be a contender as well. Zeeland East, I believe, switched over to the gold division of the Ottawa Kent Conference. I think there was 18 schools in the Ottawa Kent Conference that switched divisions, and then there were 7 more schools that left that conference and formed the River Cities Conference. It's one of 3 new conferences in the state of Michigan. So Zeeland East is another very, very quality program. Zeeland East and Zeeland West, they're both down by Holland, so that's another solid pool of teams coming out of the Holland area. So yeah, a lot going on in Division II. Honorable mentions: Dearborn Divine Child's been very solid the last few years. Orchard Lake St. Mary's was, a ranked team a lot last season. Their girls team had a great run in the regional finals last spring. Grand Rapids Forest Hills Central, another powerhouse program. They graduated 12 kids, but they have a lot of young kids that are kind of slid in those positions and expect them to do well. Allendale, honorable mention. They're one of those teams we talked about that moved to the River Cities Conference. They're likely the favorites in that league. Allendale has an exceptional sophomore class. They brought back over 80% of their entire roster. And then Muskegon Reese Puffer, they graduated a lot. They were up in D1 last year. They won a Division II district 2 years ago. Now they're back down in Division II. They have a younger team, a very good sophomore class. So Reese Puffer, expect the Rockets to be one of those teams that starts 15th, but as those younger players start getting in the flow of things, you could see that team getting a lot better over the course of the next couple of months.
And I want to bring it back to the number 5 spot, Brother Rice, only because, Dan, me and you had the call for that game against Seaholm, where it was their season opener. They had the student section going. They had lacrosse helmets on, that student section. They were yelling in the face of those having throw-ins right in front of them. And I mentioned that not only because it was a ton of fun to call and see that crowd, but we got highlights of that game up here on the Michigan Soccer Network. As with all of our broadcasts, within a day or two after our broadcast, we'll have highlights posted right here on YouTube. So be sure to go and check out those highlights right after the show here today. We'll also have all the rankings posted to our website, MichiganSoccerNetwork.com, at the end of the show here so that you don't miss a thing. And if you forgot, you can always go back and check.
Yeah, you talk about student section. We on our YouTube channel, in the comment section, talk about some of the best student sections in the entire state of Michigan. You feel like you have a student section that draws well, maybe you dress up, very rambunctious, very vocal. Let us know about it. I would love sometimes sitting in a press box or a court side of a basketball game or whatever the case may be, and then you listen to some of these student sections. Sometimes they literally crack me up.
Yeah, so if you want to show off your school pride, send it our way. Tag us on social media at MI Soccer Network, and we'll see what you guys got going. We'll see your school pride and show it off to the world. So that's going to close it out here for the Division II section of our show, leaving us with only one division left, that being Division I. Coming up next after the break, we'll break down the top 15 according to the Coaches Association. We appreciate you all watching here. We'll be back after a short break for that Division I top 15.
Now Worrell has a good cutback from him. He'll fire one, and that's going to go in!
Granite City Food and Brewery has 2 Michigan locations in Troy and Northville. Serves made-from-scratch food, brews in-house beer, and even has brunch every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. To learn more about their daily specials or to book a private party, visit gcfb.com. Make sure you head over to Granite City in Northville at the corner of 7 Mile and Haggerty, or the Troy location at 16 Mile and I-75.
Are you looking to play at the next level? MSN is now offering player recruitment videos. We are excited to partner with you and your family in getting you to the next level. To learn more about our packages and what we offer, head over to the MichiganSoccerNetwork.com. Remember, your journey starts with a click.
What rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start? Here, in the classroom.
On the diamond.
In the pool. On the field. Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends.
Yeah! Be great.
Participate!
Welcome back, everybody, to the MSN High School Ranking Show. Be sure to subscribe right here on YouTube. Follow us on social media at MIHSSCA Network and support us all the ways you can. We got done with Division 4, 3, 2, and that leaves us with only Division 1 to cover here. The top 15 coming up according to the Michigan High School Soccer Coaches Association. And Dan, I'm excited for this one. You know, we leave this at the end of the show for a reason. These are some of the best teams that the state has to offer.
Yeah, there's so many good teams. I would hate to personally be a Division I chair because in some seasons between boys soccer and girls soccer, there's literally 30, 40 teams. There's hardly any difference between so many schools. When they face up on the battlefield, there's so many ties. There's so many one-goal games. Just a minute little play can make a difference between winning, tying, or losing a contest in D1. So there is a ton of very good teams. We'll probably see a lot of movement here in the first few weeks before things really get solidified as, you know, conference races start, you know, leveling out. But let's dig into Division I. There's a lot of good teams here, brought back a lot of players, and huge expectations for some of these teams in 2024.
And let's break it down, starting with number 15, cracking the top 15 is Traverse City West, followed by number 14, Troy Athens, your reigning state champions. Number 13, Berkeley. Number 12, Novi, Detroit Catholic Central. Number 11 goes to Utica Eisenhower. The top 10, including Clarkston, Grand Blanc, Salem, and number 7, Oxford. Number 6 goes to Rockford, and number 5 is Troy High. Number 4, Plymouth, making their first appearance here, not appearing on last week's top 20. Number 3, Portage Central. Number 2, Rochester Adams, and your number 1 team in Division 1 for Week 1 goes to Northville.
And the Mustangs of Northville, it's strange to think about. As good as that program has been year in, year out, Henry Climbs does a fantastic job at the Mustangs. They have never won a state championship in either Class A or Division I. So will this be the year that Northville can do it? They were your semifinalists last year. They lost in double overtime to Troy Athens. They bring back, I think, 16 of their 25 postseason players, a ton of starters. That team is very dangerous. And what they did this week, they played Brighton in their conference opener. Brighton was your Division I state runner-up last year. Brighton was ranked the last couple weeks of the regular season as well. They beat them 6-0. So Northville, huge expectations here in 2024. Rochester Adams was your state champ 2 years ago. They brought back a solid core, but when you get 3 MLS Next players that have never played high school to slide into the starting lineup, and they have one of the Mr. Soccer candidates this year, that team has reloaded. Rochester Adams is, huge expectations again. Portage Central, always a good team in the Southwestern Michigan Athletic Conference, but they beat East Kentwood 6-1 the other day. So how dangerous are the Mustangs of Portage Central? this could be a year they get to the finals. They have a lot of players back, a very good junior class at Portage Central. Plymouth has been down somewhat in recent years, but they brought back a lot of players. They'll be one of those top teams in that West Division of the KLAA. That's where Northville, Brighton, Heartland, Salem, Canton, there's so many good teams out of that league. It's one of the best conferences in all Michigan year in and year out.
Yeah, a lot of them included in this top 15.
Yeah, Troy High, 2 years ago they were in the top 2 all year. They had graduated 16 players. So last year they started 0-3, really young team. This year they're going to be one of the challengers in the OAA Red Division. Rockford, back-to-back huge graduating classes for the Rams. 2 years ago, they were state runner-up. Last year in their Final Four. They did lose, I believe, 3 players to MLS Next Academy teams. So they might not have the depth, but they have an exceptional group of young players that were kind of waiting in the wings. When we had that backlog where you have back-to-back huge senior classes, some of those players are on your bench or on the JV team kind of waiting, but Rockford has not lost. They are another team that's just kind of reloading.
Yeah, and it's funny when you say you lose players to MLS Next. That's a fantastic thing. But I know for the team's sake, they would like to keep them, but that's a great accomplishment for those players, no doubt about it.
Yeah, Oxford, another program, they've always been a good team. Like back in the 80s and 90s, early 2000s, Oxford was a Class B powerhouse. They moved up to Division I back in 2000, I believe, in 2011. But last year, they kind of put things all together. The first time they won a league and district championship in the same year since they were a Division I school. They were the OAA Red Division champs last year the first time. That was a close race. There was 4 teams that went down on the last day of the regular season before that was decided. Salem was in the Final Four 2 years ago. They play a very difficult schedule. You expect the Rocks to kind of go up and down the rankings, but they're another team out of that KLA West that's always very competitive. Grand Blanc, another team that just reloads. They graduate 17 players, but they're the defending Saginaw Valley champs. They always have another wave of players that kind of slide into that starting lineup and off the bench. Clarkston graduated, I think, like 75-80% of their scoring. So the Wolves will be good. They'll be very good defensively, but who is going to score goals for Clarkston? That's the biggest question. They started out number 1 the first month last year. They kind of tailed off just a little bit. They ended up finishing 4th in that league. The OA Red Division is as low as it gets. They lost the district finals to Oxford. Utica Eisenhower, they'll be right there with New Baltimore Anchor Bay, challenging for that MAC Red championship. They split last year. I think they were both, they shared the crown. They were both 7-0-3. So Eisenhower, New Baltimore Anchor Bay, which isn't on the list, will challenge in that league. Detroit Catholic Central, they unfortunately lost a couple games against Indiana, Ohio opponents over the weekend, but Catholic Central 2 years ago, they had 19 seniors. Last year, the expectations were curbed a little bit. They had almost an entirely new roster. This year, they bring back over 75% of the lineup. So I expect the Shamrocks will get better this season. They kind of were the surprise team last year. Not saying surprising that they went far. They did get to the regional finals. I'm saying because they didn't have all the experience they had 2 years ago. So Gene Polis did a great coaching job last year. I expect them to be one of the top teams, along with St. John's out of Toledo and Warren De La Salle in that Central Division of the Catholic High School League. Berkeley, another model of consistency. 15 years ago, Steve Olsick took over that program. It's a small district. Like, they're not building subdivisions in Berkeley and Arlington Woods. Every year, they're always in the top half of the OA Red Division. I think they tied for second with Troy Athens last year. The Bears will be very good again this year. Troy Athens is 2-1. They did lose to Troy the other day. We broadcast that game here live on the Michigan Soccer Network. They have a lot of offensive firepower. What I think they're lacking is some of their depth and some of their defense. They're replacing some starters there. But Troy Athens is one of the most storied programs in state history. They'll still be a very good team. There's something magical about the Red Hawks when it comes to the postseason. They seem like they always seem to find a way to win games in the postseason. Traverse City West, I think it's 14 straight Big North Conference championships, and Aiden North is one of the best players in the state. He is a Mr. Soccer candidate. You don't expect the Titans to go anywhere. They have, since that school was opened up back in 1996, every year they're one of the challengers for a league and district championship. So they're expected to do well again, another solid senior class. Their JV team year in, year out always puts up big records. Now, we did not have an honorable mention list yet,
It'll come.
There are so many good teams. I can't even list so many teams of coaches I've talked to around that they're going to be better this year in D1. Some of these schools actually maybe won a district last year. But there are so many good teams. There will be some movement in D1. There will be some teams not listed right now that will be, I don't know, mentioned their top 15 next week or in 2 weeks, as some of these teams may take a loss. And that goes back to how close it is in D1. Even D2 a little bit, but not as much as D1, where you could literally do a top 30 every week and you would still have complaints about why isn't my team ranked. So that was the top 15 in Division I for now. It'll be interesting to see how these conference races shake up with some of these teams, who make the runs come, late October, early November. And I personally, after talking to, a few hundred coaches here the last couple of weeks, you have to look at number one, Northville, as being probably your team to beat overall. That team is stacked. Again, they bring back a lot of players, and this could be the year that Northville finally gets it done.
Yeah, and a lot of teams, like you mentioned, it's such a competitive division here that even teams that aren't listed, even beyond later when the honorable mentions come in, the teams that don't even appear there can still make a huge run and really shake up the landscape of who wins the state championship. So it not to demean the 15 that we do here. Of course, you got to keep track of who's the best of the best, but it doesn't mean that if you're not on this list that you don't have a shot at the title. A lot of teams in Division I have a shot at that title, and it only is a matter of time before we get to see them, and maybe they appear in our top 15 along the way.
Yeah, and like I said, well, there'll be changes, and I could sit here again and list 20, 25 schools in D1 that are on the list that are going to be very good this year. You've already seen a lot of very quality results for some of those schools, so we'll keep an eye on a long list to see if any of those schools break in. But the top 15 in D1, we just put them up on the screen. We just went over. All those teams are very deserving. All those teams have high expectations, and the kind of the reloading mentality. Some schools do not rebuild; they reload, and we'll see that. Out of there's certain. It's really in all four divisions. There are programs that, hey, we lost 8 kids, we lost 15 kids. They always just seem to be good the next year, regardless. So expect that to never change. That will be the case this year. It will be the case in many years to come, but. There will also be sleeper picks in each four division. There will be a team out there that maybe doesn't get a lot of talk about right now, early in the preseason, early season, but then they make a run at the conference championship. They sneak out a district champion. There, next thing you know, they're in a regional final, Elite Eight, where a lot of people like, well, where did this team come from? So I love the sleeper picks. We'll see which team is that will merge over the next couple months, but. There they are, your top 15 in each four divisions, and again, we'll take a deep look at all these teams and more over the next 2 to 3 weeks on the MichiganSoccerNetwork.com. I've been busy interviewing coaches, going through surveys from all over the Mitten and the Upper Peninsula, and always look forward to seeing how some of these teams develop, how some of these players end up shining on the pitch over the next couple months.
Yeah, and one of those shining moments on the pitch. I want to bring up a matchup that we both called here, like we mentioned in D2. We had a Brother Rice matchup. For here, we had the rivalry game, the City Cup for Troy. It was Troy High and Troy Athens. We had the call for that game, and you can find those highlights also right here on the Michigan Soccer Network YouTube channel here. But you can tell, it was a matchup of the reigning state champs against their cross-city rivals, and both teams very good this year. It was a battle, and it ended up going towards Troy High, helping them boost themselves up to 5th place. But I wanted to bring up that matchup here, not only because we had the highlights and not only because we had the call, but it was a great matchup to see those rivalries. Those you can't replace a crosstown rivalry. They're 5 miles from each other. You're not going to dodge them, and it's great to see those kinds of matchups. And we see them all the time in D1 and all the divisions.
You never know, will they see each other again? This is the first time in 3 years Troy actually defeated Troy Athens. They're only 3-7 in their last 10 meetings with the Red Hawks, but they got the upper hand here on Thursday night. And there are so many great rivalries across the state. We have, I think, like close to 60 high school and small college games already on the docket for the next couple months. So if you are interested of hiring the Michigan Soccer Network crew to come out and broadcast one of your games across the state. Last week we had 5 different teams from 5 different conferences, literally in 5 different areas of the Lower Peninsula that actually won a free broadcast. So again, congratulations to those 5 schools, and we look forward to trying to bring out and give more and more schools a coverage each and every year.
No doubt about it. You can find who those top 5 teams are on our social media at MIHSSCA Network. We revealed those at the end of last week's show where we covered the top 20 teams. And be sure we're going to get there to your school and give you a great broadcast here. And like Dan was mentioning, any other school that wants to have themselves broadcasted to the world, then we're the place to be. Just give us a call. We'll get a crew out there to call your game here. And they're a ton of fun to do, Dan. To see it's a lot different than the summer kind of college off season, amateur club season, because when you get to the high school season, the college season, it's not only just the players on the pitch, but it's the communities, it's the schools, it's the mascots beyond that, butting heads and battling for who's best.
The alumni factor, people always follow their high school and college later in life, so I think that's what makes, non-professional level sports so special. I've been a big fan of high school sports since I was about 5 years old, growing up in the Rochester area, 6,000 years ago. But we'll look forward to sharing on social media, share and like us, all different social media platforms. Send us the videos of your student group cheering sections. Always love to look at those. If you are a coach and you have not returned a phone call or sent your preseason survey, we are beginning to run conference previews on Tuesday. And we hope to have our Super 50 teams and top players next weekend and the week after Labor Day. So again, final call for those coaches who have not taken 10 minutes to send us your top players and your roster as well. So I think that's a wrap. Again, can't wait for the rest of the season. There's so many good teams, so many great games to be played here, so many great stories to be told over the next couple of months, and we look forward to bringing as many as we can here on our YouTube channel or on our website at MichiganSoccerNetwork.com.
That's right. This is the place to be for all things soccer. We appreciate you all tuning in to the MSN High School Ranking Show here. We'll be back here every Sunday night, 8 o'clock until the season's end. We'll also be doing the Dream Team Show later on in the season to reveal who is the best of the best across all 4 divisions here. So be sure to subscribe to not miss a single thing here. If you want all the rankings here in beautiful picture-perfect form, then look over to our social media. We'll have that posted in just a moment here after the show. Follow us all the ways you can. Subscribe here. We got a bunch of games coming up. Those will also be announced later on our social media here, and it's going to be a whole lot of soccer and a whole lot of fun, Dan.
In a whole lot of places, a lot of communities, a lot of different conferences across the state. We've been requested quite a bit on the west side of Michigan, so look for our camera operators and staff at a school near you.
That's right, and once again, we appreciate you all watching here. This has been the MSN High School Ranking Show. My name is Giovanni Moscheri. That's the newsman, Dan Stickrat. We appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you here next Sunday on the Michigan Soccer Network.
He'll cut it back on his left foot!